Hey guys, what's up? Sando here. So today I'll be testing probably the most feature-packed all-in-one device that I have tried up to this point that costs less than $1,000. So it's a DAC, obviously. It's a powerful and fully balanced headphone amplifier. It has a really powerful line amplifier inside with an actual line amplifier circuit. It's a Bluetooth receiver. It has a full MQA decoder and also a fully fledged streamer via Roon and via AirPlay too. So this is pretty much the definition of an all-in-one device, and it's called Matrix Audio Mini I Pro 3. Yep, that is pretty much the same company that is making my reference Delta Sigma DAC, the Element X, which I'll be using daily. So the Mini I, which I'll be calling the little one for obvious reasons, does indeed feel like a mini version of the Element X because they both share some of those internal components. So let's check what makes it so interesting, shall we? I always believed that Matrix Audio is having one of the best looking DACs. From X-Sabre line to the Element line and then to the Mini I, all their devices are clean looking with smooth lines, made only from premium materials, with a huge attention even to the smallest details. And the little one feels exactly the same. It has a full metal roll cage that is entirely wrapping it, making it look clean yet elegant and beautiful. It has only a single panel attached, and that is the back panel. Its huge LCD screen on the front panel is without a doubt the best screen I've experienced in digital audio, and I really wish my Element X had it as well. It's very bright, it's colorful, it has great viewing angles, and it's a high resolution screen too. I see ventilation holes on its left and on its right, meaning that a powerful output stage is dissipating a lot of heat, and that is already a very good sign. As for controls, on its front panel you can see that beautiful LCD screen. On the left you have two headphone outputs, so one is your regular 1/4 inch headphone out and one is a balanced 4.4mm output. Before you ask, they couldn't add a 4-pin XLR jack, mostly because there isn't enough space on that front panel. On the back you'll find 5 digital inputs as USB Type-C, optical, coaxial, Ethernet, and it wouldn't be a Matrix Audio device without an I2S input, right? It has also an RCA input, meaning that you can use it as a preamplifier or a headphone amplifier only, which is pretty neat, and there is your typical RCA and XLR balanced outputs. Both can be volume controlled or fixed, meaning that you can use it as a pure DAC or as a DAC plus preamp combo. On the right there is a minuscule button with an I below it. That is your secret menu button that will open an interesting UI with a lot of settings to play with, which I'll show you in a second. As for the tech inside it, at the heart of its digital processing stays a powerful ESS 9038 Q2M DAC chip that will natively decode PCM files, DSD files, and MQA studio files. The Pro version uses the best crystal clock money could buy, is the famous Crystech CCHD 950 that can also be found in the best digital designs. Element X also has it. It also has a powerful headphone amp section, it's fully balanced, and it's slightly more powerful in the low to mid impedances compared to the Element X. It will provide up to 1.9 watts in 32 ohms on its balanced output and up to 1.3 watts on its unbalanced output. It is also AirPlay 2 compatible, so if you own any Apple smart devices, you can stream all your music via third-party apps like Tidal, Qobuz, Apple Music and so on, directly to it without any data loss. This unit is also Roon Ready certified. It can connect wirelessly or via Ethernet to your Roon core and stream everything directly to it, which is beyond awesome to have at such an affordable price point. The Bluetooth part is also impressive. It has the latest version, so 5.0, and it supports all the major audio codecs including aptX HD and LDAC. It also includes a full MQA decoder. You can play them natively, and MQA logo would appear on its screen if such content is being played. It's important to mention that Matrix Audio also used an audio-grade transformer from Noratel. Its power supply was greatly improved compared to its predecessors, and both the maximum power and the noise levels are beyond its previous generations, which I'm very glad to witness. Okay guys, I'm ready for some music, so let's try some tunes. In terms of its sound performance, without messing with you too much, I will just simply say that it approaches dangerously close to the performance of my trusty Element X. I'm hearing extreme details from the lowest to the highest octaves. Bass is deep, is controlled, it punches really hard in the chest, it raises the hair on my hands. Mid-range is also linear and seems not too inviting nor too dry sounding. Trebles are also extremely detailed, very outlined, and very textured without being jumping to the bright side. So this is pretty much the definition of linearity and neutrality in my book. So it simply disappears from the acoustic chain and lets your speakers, lets your headphones and amplifiers do all the coloring, all the music painting. This is not a lush or warm sounding digital source. This will not sugarcoat your music, it will not color it in any way. So I consider it just by a hair tilting towards warmth and adding just a little bit of naturalness to my absolute linearity curve. That Noratel audio grade transformer that is sitting inside and those Crystech femtosecond clocks added that black background, some perfect timing and some smoothness and naturalness in this one, but not a lot of it as it happens on the SMSL SU9 or Barson Conductor 3X Performance or Audio GD D38. I can feel all the thinking that went behind this product, so the little one is indeed a really transparent and detailed sounding unit. Above anything else, it's dead silent between passages and adds some smoothness and liquidity, and that is pretty much the sound of the little one in a nutshell. Before going deep into its headphone amp section, it's really important to know that for an immaculate damping factor with your headphones, their impedance should be at least 8 times higher than that of the amplifier that drives them. That is called the rule of 8s. It so happens that this one is having it slightly higher than usual, so it has 11 ohms on the single-ended output and 22 ohms on the balanced out. So by doing a single math, it means that you should have headphones of at least 88 ohms on the single-ended and 176 ohms on the balanced out for a perfect transit response and damping factor. Of course, that doesn't mean that low impedance headphones would not sound great with it, because that wasn't the case. It is just their damping factor and driver control would be slightly affected. With headphones like Fostex TH909, Kennerton Magni, Kennerton Galarhorn, RZH Mania, RZH Phobos, I was at about minus 15 dB for very loud tunes, at about 90 dB of sound pressure level. Considering that plus 18 dB is the maximum volume, I had about 33 dB of volume left on top, so of course the headroom was huge, and all that happened on the single-ended output. The little guy was driving them close to their maximum potential, and with such headphones I personally wouldn't use an external headphone amplifier. I think this one is already has enough power and enough headroom left. With headphones such as Sennheiser Momentum 2 line or Meze 99 line or any other portable headphones, of course it was driving them to their maximum potential, so there was huge volume left on top. What actually surprised me is that it sounded really punchy, really alive with all those headphones. I think that the transit response wasn't affected at all. It just sounded a little bit smoother and more liquid somehow, compared to a dedicated headphone amplifier that has close to zero output impedance. The interesting part is that with heavyweight headphones like Hi-Fi-Man Aria, Kennerton Odan, Odyssey LCD4, it was driving them on the single-ended output on the minus 1 dB of volume. So of course it wasn't driving them to their maximum potential. With such headphones I would use an external headphone amplifier. Nonetheless, it sounded really nice even out of the single-ended output, and there was quite a lot of volume left on top. Of course, with balanced output that would be much better, so those would work much better. But still, I do think an external amplifier would work much better with them, as topping A90, Flux, F810 and so on. Nonetheless, I was quite impressed by its headphone output. It could easily drive your dynamic headphones. Just make sure to use the balanced headphone output and you are good to go. Its noise floor was tested via XLR and RCA output, and separately I also tried both headphone outputs for noise. So going full power to 4.1 volts via XLR, I was unable to spot any disturbing noises in my music whatsoever. I even approached my speakers really closely, and all I've heard was a complete silence between passages. Its analog outputs is actually very clean sounding, so gremlins are not living inside its case, and that is very good to know, as it's simply perfect in here. Its headphone outputs are a slightly different story. So FiO FH7 and also FI9 are my personal noise sniffers, because they are really good at showing the noise floor of your source and amplifier. And on both its headphone outputs, on both of them, no matter the volume position, be it the lowest or the highest, there is a barely audible hiss, so it feels mostly like a white noise, so low-level humming. However, I'll remind you that I'm yet to hear a DAC plus headphone amp combo that is dead silent on its headphone output. So far that didn't happen, and combos like Borson Conductor Free X Performance or Audio GD D38 are considerably noisier in here. As for resolution and transparency, no matter the song that I have tried, it was able to untangle and unclutter my music, and it was able to push all those micro details on the foreground. I've spotted even the tiniest details in my music, all that was rendered clear, defined, and I didn't even need to close my eyes to focus on all that. Even bad mastered music as old rock sounded really defined, really clear. The little guy and the benchmark HP4 and the Hi-Fi Man Susvara was making a really great team together. It was a linear and neutral setup, that is for sure, yet I was able to enjoy every single second of this setup. When transparency is experienced at a very high level, I think that words as clinical, boring or bright would never happen in here, because nothing stays in front of the audio signal, and that makes it simply disappear from your acoustic chain. The little one is actually not using the Pro version of the ESS 9038, that is actually correct, but the implementation around this chipset, the Q2M chipset, is absolutely world class. I think they squeezed absolutely the best it could possibly offer. So when it comes to details, I think it is easily on the same level with a Topic D90, with AUN S8, with Gustart A22, and it is slightly above devices like Soundco's SGD1, SMSL SU9, Borson Conductor Free X Performance, and considerably higher than any entry-level and mid-level DACs that I have tried of late. As for soundstage and depth, I do believe that it will be increasing or decreasing the stage size depending on the music you'll be listening to. So it could sound wide open with notes flying sky high with well-mastered music, with live recordings, for example. It could sound cozier and more intimate with older jazz, for example, and even upfront and personal with some rock tunes. That happened several times. In this regard, I could place it easily at the same level with nicer Delta Sigma DACs. It's important to say that it never sounded really closed in, really claustrophobic, how Mytek Brooklyn DAC or Benchmark DAC Free sounded in their stock forms. It is only by a hair less expanded, less airy sounding, so to speak, compared to the best digital designs. Element X, for example, was still by a notch wider sounding, more open sounding, but that shouldn't come as a surprise considering the price difference. But when I moved this one to the living room and driving directly a power amplifier like KCS S300 and then a pair of Buchard S400 loudspeakers, that was the moment of its glory. I'm not sure what is at play here, but I think its preamp section is really good because a lot of naturalness simply rushed in, timing was perfect, smoothing was present as well, dynamics was sky high. There weren't afterthoughts that something is missing in here, so its preamp section is actually very good, and in this regard it worked better than SMSL SU9, Soundco's SGD1 and AUN S8. As for its frequency response, I do believe this is a very easy part for me because it sounds simply super extended here, very linear in here. So both the sub bass and the mid bass felt really detailed, clean and very well made. There was driver movement even at the 20 Hz area, so you could have as much bass as you could possibly have. It was punchy, it was reaching the lowest octaves. It was able to sustain even longer bass notes as double bass, for example, and with faster electronica everything sounded really precise, executed fast in a very detailed manner. It has both the speed and the slam of the bass. It was only by a notch shyer compared to the best of the best. Mid-range feels exactly the same. It is clean, defined, detailed, and also straight as a line. Smoothness and naturalness are still happening in here, so voices are really natural sounding. String bass instruments are having this vibration, lifelike vibration and ringing attached to them. At the same time, I don't think it goes overboard towards to the warm side or to the bright side. I think it is neither of those. It is as linear and neutral as DACs could possibly be. It simply tries to disappear from your acoustic chain. If you are hunting for warmth and a lot of smoothness, I'm going to disappoint you that the little one is not like that. It will let that task to be finished by your speakers or headphones. Treble feels complete from the lowest to the highest registers, and if you are searching for some perfect double drums or some really defined cymbals, I think you came to the right party. I'm liking a lot of music ranging from something that would put you to sleep to something that will scare away your neighbors. And I do really think that a linear and really extended frequency response is simply mandatory to render all that. Overall, the little one has an extended frequency response. I didn't feel any potholes or rises in here. Nothing stood out particularly, yet everything was rendered in perfect doses. The little one is also Roon Ready certified and it is AirPlay 2 enabled, but first you will need to connect it to your home network via Ethernet or Wi-Fi. I'm not a Roon user yet, so most of my listening was done via an iPhone, via AirPlay 2 with a Tidal Hi-Fi subscription. Just make sure that both devices are connected to the same wireless network, and you can stream any audio content from your iDevice to the Matrix unit, including YouTube videos, music stored on your device, or via third-party streaming services as Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, Qobuz, and others. You just need to tap on the AirPlay icon, select the Mini i Pro from the list, and that is basically it. I did actually find it slightly better sounding this way because all the issues of the USB connection, like the cable, the USB protocol, and the OS of your computer will be completely bypassed. It works really nicely this way. It sounds slightly clearer and smoother. Not a whole lot better, but there is a difference. In the end, it has some powerful wireless capabilities that I didn't see yet at any other device at this price point. I also compared the little one with its much bigger brother, the Element X, but since I don't want to have this video long, please check out my comparison that I put below in my written review. It's on the chapter 9 and it's one click away. Seriously, you need to check that. As for the conclusion, I do really think that Matrix Audio is one of the finest audio manufacturers when it comes to digital sources, and I knew a day would come when they will start trickling down technology and putting that in smaller boxes, more affordable boxes, and that is exactly what happened in here. Everything is in here actually. So you have MQA, balanced headphone drive, balanced outputs, great preamplifier section, Bluetooth receiver, AirPlay, and a full-fledged streamer via Roon, via Ethernet and Wi-Fi. Can you really ask for more? I'm yet to experience a more feature-packed device that costs really less than $1,000. Speaking about their prices, the regular Mini i3 goes for $749, and that is a very good value. However, I strongly recommend getting the Pro version instead. That will offer you a much better crystal clock, full MQA capabilities, and Wi-Fi support. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed my review. My full in-depth review is waiting on my website. In case you want to support this channel, please subscribe to it, and thank you for doing that. And as usual, listen to my music, be positive, and I'll see you soon. Cheers guys, bye bye.